Well, 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 if it ain't me. That's right. You know who I am. That guy. The bald guy. With the cigars. What's up, y'all? We are back at the EJ2 Track Rat's Nest, the rat's lair. Lighting up this stogie, this old cigar. And in the last video, we finished up the exhaust on the car. So in this video, we are going to be Cerakoting the exhaust for the car. That's what we're gonna do. While you were away, I mentioned that I needed to relocate a O2 sensor bung. So we did that with good old flux core. And we did that because this is a secondary off of the primaries. We needed it to go at the collector because measuring the O2 sensor concentration at cylinders, I guess this is 4 and 2, is cool if you can also measure 1 and 3, but just measuring 2 cylinders is probably not ideal. So we moved it so we can measure all of the cylinders. And then the next thing that we have to do is we have to Cerakote it. So I'm in the process of figuring out what I need to buy or borrow so that I can Cerakote that exhaust. I have this air compressor, luckily, so I'll be able to buy or borrow an HVLP gun, the regulators, filters, whatever else I need, and then that should allow me to spray ambient dry Cerakote, which will keep a lot of the temperature in the exhaust and out of the car. It's the workhorse. It's the workhorse, boys and girls. So we have the paint booth set up. That's an air conditioner. Well, it's not an air conditioner, but you know what I mean. But yeah, so compressor set up. It actually has a regulator on it, which I didn't even realize, which is pretty sick. And 150 PSI at 30 gallons, I think, something like that. So quite a bit of air. And then this hose is nice and long, so thank you, Chris, for this deal. This is the gun all set up. Now, in order to make this all work, we're going to need to test the spray pattern, which means that we're going to need to go buy acetone, because acetone is going to be used to test the spray pattern, but then it's also going to be used to clean the gun out. I've actually seen people who said they just throw the guns away when they're done using them because they're so cheap nowadays. I feel like that's a little bit irresponsible. Maybe, you know, after some time of doing this, I will feel the same, but yeah, I think I'm just going to clean it and keep the guns because I like keeping my tools. But yeah, that's our spray piece, our test piece. We're gonna try different fan patterns, different pressures, different fluid feed rates, and figure out what looks best. And then we can kind of prep the pipe and spray the pipe. All right, y'all, we have our acetone over here, and we have some strainers, some conical strainers. That's not flowing anything. Weird. Anyway, we're gonna play with the flow and see what we can make happen. We have this about 1.5 turns open for the material flow, and then we have that spray pattern set about halfway. We're gonna play with the pressure. Oh, that's why it's not working, because the pressure is totally off. Then we're gonna play with air flow, okay? So as you can tell, I have no idea what I'm doing. They're like, yeah, play with the spray patterns until you find something you like, and they all look like crap. So I guess the only way to know is to try the clear coat stuff or whatever it's called, the Cerakote. So I guess what I'm gonna do is probably take like a test piece, like that one right there, the one on the far right, and then we'll scuff it up and see what we can do. So this was really more of an exercise in seeing which surface prep worked best than anything else, because I didn't actually end up painting this piece, as you'll find out later. I just ended up prepping it and then moving on to prep other pieces. But I tried the green Brillo pad. I tried Brillo pad drill bits that like scuff up the surface with the power tool. They worked okay, more or less. I tried an orbital sander, but it seems like just regular sandpaper probably works best. If I had to recommend using a Brillo pad, I probably would recommend using the red kind, not the green kind. Well, my logic was flawed. I was going to spray that one piece, and then I was going to see how the settings were on the gun and whatnot. But then I realized that if I spray that one piece, I'm going to be cleaning the gun because I'm not going to spray it, and then prep all the pieces and then spray the rest of the pieces and then have the gun not be plugged up unless I rinse it with acetone. So, with that being said, I actually just started prepping all of the pieces. Let me show you the header. I decided to prep the hardest piece first because I didn't want to. I figured let's do the hardest thing first and go from there. So the idea with Cerakoting and a stainless header is to get all the shine out of it. So you can see it's got that brushed aluminum, brushed steel look to it. And that's because I took a combination of these Brillo pad wheels. The red ones have a thicker grit. Used some of this green stuff. I should have gotten the red ones, and then some wire stuff to get into the hard to get places. But again, we're not finished. We're not focused on like finish and how pretty it looks. We're focused on making it stick. So I sanded here. I even sanded on this side. And the idea is to coat everything, just to retain as much heat as possible in the exhaust stream.
We made it back, and the Porsche. This camera, which is worth money to sell used on eBay, probably get like $500 for it. Still in place. Nothing is missing from the manufacturer. Actually, get it to go up. Is the whole car gonna need painted, or just a few? And as you guys can see, there's residue from tape and glue all over this thing. So it's just a process of spraying it with glue remover, letting it sit, hitting it with a plastic razor blade, rinse, repeat. To anything. And back here, like I said, you got the exhaust, you got the tiny little mark there from the wheel. They got some markings on the corner. They have a tiny bit of damage on that. There's a slight. They just got the score of the century. I mean, the battery's kind of low. Goes there. I haven't found it in the pile of parts. These storage bin things are pretty sweet, but there's no way to reach them. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with this car. Attaches. And this seems like a great time to remind you guys, if you aren't subscribed,
Well, the time has finally come. I don't know if this is showing up backwards for you guys, but it's showing up backwards for me. Anyway, it's Cerakote C7300 Black Velvet. So they specify that you should shake it up for like 5 minutes or something. And then when you go to pour it in the gun, you make sure that there's no sediment at the bottom of the gun or whatever. We have a strainer. We have some strainers. I gotta find them. I left them floating around somewhere. Oh, here they are. And we're gonna pour the Cerakote through the strainer. We also need to make some sort of like jig, for lack of better words, to hold the gun up. Not really sure how we're gonna do that. They do make like stands you can buy, but I'm not spending money on that. We do have a respirator. We do have safety glasses. That stuff's really important because this stuff has some nasty chemicals in it. So be safe, kids. As you can see, I really didn't know what I was doing here. I was playing with the angle of the spray, and then I was playing with other settings on the gun, and my technique is definitely sus. Like, normally you would like hold it for a long period of time and go the length of the object you're painting and then let go of the trigger, right, and fan it out. But no, I'm just going because I'm so used to brush painting and spray painting and doing all these half-ass methods. But I mean, ultimately, whatever. This is fine. It's not like it's painting a race car. It's just painting some flux core exhaust, you know? One thing I would 100% recommend, regardless of whether you're outside or inside, is taking a look at your substrate after you've sprayed it with, like, a light so you can see if you've missed any spots. That was extremely helpful here. I just used an old broken shop light to find any imperfections or any things that I missed, and I went back with my respirator and my eye protection and my gun, and I hit anything that I missed. It was very helpful. While I was at it, I did try some new spray techniques. You can see that I was like going really fast and short intervals here, and then eventually I switched to longer strokes and longer intervals. I definitely think that it's not the most noticeable surface or paint to pick up on imperfections with, so take it with a grain of salt. But the longer spray method that most body guys recommend did actually end up working out really well on the finished product. Now, the absolute hardest part of this entire spraying process was definitely the header. Not only is it a very complex geometry where you have to like change the nozzle from long ways to wide ways, and you know, make sure that you're not missing any nooks and crannies, but also, I mean, you have to spray on top of it, on the bottom of it, on the sides of it, on the front of it, on the back of it, and that involved like a lot of gymnastics. So I'm sure that the body shop guys watching this video will not be very happy or enthused with how I went about doing this header, because I did tilt the gun up and tilt it down, and I accidentally bumped into the airflow knob a couple times and messed up the spray pattern, but it did actually come out pretty decent, and I'm actually really happy with it. Oh wow. Yeah, I'm covered in overspray. So as far as I can tell, they're done. But you know how painting goes. Or do you? So as you saw in the video, it was kind of hard to get to some of these spots. I was doing some things with an HVLP gun that would make a painter cry. On this header, the material flow got messed up a couple times, so it did get a little splotchy in some spots. But as I said before, the point of this exercise isn't really to make the prettiest looking exhaust. It's to make an exhaust that fulfills the purpose of a race car. This one it could use a little more coating. But yeah, you can see it's a little bumpy. And again, it's because so on the bottom of this gun, there's a material flow adjustment. It's like right, see where that little knob is? It's right there. And my little pinky finger, when I'm holding the gun, turns it by accident sometimes. So it's kind of the price to pay to buying a cheap gun. I'm not sure that I would, recommend buying a cheap gun like this if you're gonna spray an entire car. But for the sake of spraying a header, I think it's pretty good. We did spray inside of all of the holes, with the idea being that we're going to try and keep temperatures down inside and outside of the exhaust. But I think that I'm not really worried about the finish so much as I am that everything is covered. And like we're missing a little bit here, I think. But I mean, it's very, very hard to tell. I even got up in there with the gun. Might be missing some there too. But like I said, I mean, for spraying this thing upside down and all types of ways, I'm pretty happy with it. So it's supposed to dry with like this like shiny finish. Like I guess you can see it here. It's kind of dry on there. But I think for the most part, we're pretty much done. So we're gonna wrap it up. And I'm not sure whether I want to film, a video with the exhaust laid on the floor or something like that. But, I'm pretty happy with my makeshift paint booth setup. It's definitely not ideal, but got the job done, didn't it? Oh, and then as far as testing spray patterns, I played with a bunch. The idea was to try and get it like a wide enough nozzle that would cover like the diameter of a 3-inch diameter pipe, you know what I mean? And it worked okay. I'm not even used to spraying with an HVLP, and you can tell because I'm going. You're supposed to go, but I'm so used to like using brushes and spray paint. It's just a matter of habit at this point. But I think we're gonna get cleaned up now. Spray some acetone through the gun, and bring the air compressor back in, and we should be good to go. All right, y'all, well, it's done. It is dry to touch. I'm just paranoid, so I'm gonna hang it up if I can somewhere around here. But let's take a look. So the masking came out pretty good. We didn't pull the masking off here yet, but yeah, it came out pretty good. And that's pretty much all she wrote, boys and girls. As I mentioned, I coated the inside on some of them, but it is nice and dry. It looks amazing. I am super, super hype on this. This looks sick. I wish I could take a thumbnail, but my BMW is in the way right now. First world problems. But yeah, it looks banging. All right, y'all. Well, you came, you saw, you conquered. That's gonna be it for this video. So I appreciate y'all watching. And if you get a chance, share the content and tell your friends about my stuff. And I hope you're enjoying it, because I'm really pushing the limit on, my craftsmanship quality and stuff. So hope you all appreciate it. Anyway, y'all, this is going to be a wrap for the video. We got to let this stuff cure before we install it on the car. But thanks for watching, and catch the next one. Honestly, It looks crazy, dude. It looks literally nuts. I am so hyped. Wow. Yeah, I really outdid myself this time. This is wild, dude. Hell yeah, man. That is beautiful. Gotta figure out how we're gonna do a thumbnail. Something like this, I guess. I don't know. No idea, y'all. Looks crazy. Absolutely crazy.